It's going down in my neighborhood, yeah, the neighborhood. Do you care if your neighbor good? Is your neighbor good?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm live from the Nashville airport. Shout out to everybody on Facebook that's in my comments, playing with my intellect specifically. This live is brought to y'all. Now y'all playing with my intellect in ways, so now we got to deal with facts. And let's really compartmentalize y'all feelings. Because a lot of y'all are saying that you're not engaging in respectability politics when it comes to Tuskegee institutions, Tuskegee University, outlawing bonnets and durags in classrooms, saying that you think it would lead to classroom attendance. Before I make any claims, before I make any statements, I ain't gonna be too long-winded at all because my flight about to start boarding real soon. I have a master's degree in adult and higher education, have a master's degree in human relations. But I can tell you what I learned in adult and higher education is policing bodies in order for them to come to the classroom has never increased participation in the classroom. For the black folks that believe you got to dress for success and you believe that HBCUs do that or whatever, how does that transform to the graduation rate? How does that transform to federal funding? How does that transform to retention? I've never, ever, ever seen no data, ever that said that policing students increases participation in the classroom. I've never seen any data that said that making sure that you police what students have on their head increases their ability to critically think. Never seen it at all. I graduated from a predominantly white institution, and what I know is that no white dean, no white provost would prioritize policing the students over how they graduate. See what I'm saying? If Tuskegee has a graduation rate that's less than 70%, what is the internal link between saying durags and bonnets is what is impacting the low graduation rate? See what I'm saying? And then y'all keep on using this metaphor about jobs. When you go to your job, do they pay you to be there or do you pay them to be there? When you go to a job, the place that you call job, the place that you call a place of employment, when you go there, do you pay your employer to be there or does your employer pay you to be there? Last time I checked, students pay tuition, which means all your archaic bourgeois, you go to school and go to class. No, you pay to be in class means you get to go to class how you feel like showing up. This part right here blows my mind. The people that love to say that the black community is not a monolith. Blackness is not a monolith. Y'all show want us to subscribe to your rigorous understanding of legitimacy and professionalism. Let me just read a definition of what respectability politics is. Respectability politics is the belief and strategy where people in a lower status or marginalized group try to gain acceptance, safeties, and rights by acting or dressing like the dominant culture. Let's repeat that one more time. Let's go over y'all heads. Because then y'all will say, I'm not engaged in respectability politics, and then make an argument about respectability politics being good. The definition. It is a belief and strategy where people in a lower status or marginalized group try to gain acceptance, safety, and rights by acting like they're dressing the dominant culture. When you talk about professionalism, should we discuss the etymology and the history of the concept of professionalism? You get your notions of professionalism from the very white institutions that you have to compete against in terms of graduation rates and in terms of federal funding. Now, why is it that the HBCU, the space and place where black kids are supposed to go for higher education, they're the only ones with a policy that outlaws bonnets and durags? So when them multi-million-dollar student athletes is walking through these predominantly white institutions and they going into these classes with durags and bonnets, they not dressed to success to go be a high draft pick. What y'all saying don't make any sense at all. Right now, black people are losing voting rights. The bonnets and the durags is the reason why, huh? But the bonnets and the durags will help us get to those voting rights. The bonnets and the durags will get us more funding education. The bonnets and the durags will get us for reproductive justice. It's the bonnets and the durags. The fact that at these institutions we teach about the civil rights movement, we teach about black people being dressed in three-piece suits, hair nicely cut, being lynched, being denied opportunities. So if we can acknowledge that your institution is supposed to be making sure students graduate, how does having a bonnet or not having a bonnet impact that? When I was at the University of Oklahoma and I was getting that master's degree in adult and higher education, we learned about the specificities of each type of institutions, from the Ivy League to the top tier schools to the junior colleges to the HB. We learned about it all. And what I know is that there is no data that exists that says bonnets or durags have a relationship to the graduation rate. If your institution is taking money from students, your institution is not a place of work for them. It's a place of work for you. You get paid to be there. They don't get paid to be there. When I was professor or director of the Bay University, when I was doing anything at the university, it was understood the relationships that the students had to higher education. You feel me? If they get to go into a whole bunch of different government debt, loan debt to be there, that's not a job. So you trying to dictate what's on their head and not what's going in their head, it sounds asinine to me. You know, what is the graduation rate? What is the graduation rate at these institutions that y'all say talk about dress to success? And what does it mean to dress to success if y'all can concede that success looks differently for everybody? If you concede that blackness is not a monolith, why must black people conform to the way that older black folks think success looks like? When you were going to school for success, did you have a tech industry that was booming? No. So why do you get to dictate what students go into success now? So we have all these industries that now have remote jobs and now have jobs that you can go in, be in tech and walk on a treadmill while you're at work. Y'all talking about, come on, man. I'm talking about, yeah. I know the reason why I'm triggered and annoyed with y'all, because a lot of you uppity Negroes that's doing this, you definitely up. Y'all used to be the talk. Hey, I was homecoming king, prom king, class president in my high school. They used to ask, hey, Mr. Lee, if your dream job came in and they said you had to cut your hair, would you cut your hair? Listen, man, if I meet all the other criterias, if my profession, if my credentials and experience meet the criteria, what are you talking about my hairdress? What are you talking about? If the University of Oklahoma passed a policy that said that we cannot wear bonnets or we cannot wear durags, we will understand what that means. If you went to a bar and you had different things that said that, hey, if you have this on, you can't come here and it's correlated to a particular race, I would call it for what it is. But for some reason, we have to all base our understanding of professionalism based off what the black bourgeoisie say. So whatever the black ruling class say is what the standard is. That's what the standard is. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Listen to. I would love any. Listen. I'm gonna say this with my chest. I'm gonna say done talking. I'm gonna say this with my chest, and I'm gonna go catch my fight for Houston.
Experience with live music and signature dishes.
Yeah, we need to pick the right one. Ain't no data on your side to support this. You full of your feelings. Your feelings say that, man. I think that's just not professional. Your feelings say that. I want to say this right here. I will intellectually beat the brakes off of anybody that wants to defend the policy that the institution sent. As a matter of fact, we can make it an event. Education is elevation. I believe that argumentation is a manifestation for us to learn. Invite me to your HBCU and let's set up this structured debate and defend the policy. Defend the policy with research, and I guarantee you, I'm show you why I am who I am, and I'm gonna show you from an educational, statistical standpoint that data don't support y'all horrible policy. A horrible policy is a horrible policy. You see what I'm saying? A horrible policy is a horrible policy. You know what I mean? I know some people are going to take up that consciously shouldn't be criticizing HBCUs with this platform. Listen, all I said was HBCUs to free themselves from policing the bodies of black students. And then people start hopping in. So now we got a conversation. Pepsi challenge. I ain't turned nothing down but my collar. Whoever think that fat meat ain't greasy, whoever think that conscious leaders are fast top, him know what they're talking about. Bring me to your HBCU and let's have it for the campus. And let's talk about policies and what impacts students having a great experience at a university, specifically at HBCU. And we can talk about the graduation rates and talk about what impacts the graduation rate. We can talk about the classroom participation and classroom, attendance. And we can talk about how police and students' bodies, how they show up to the classroom, has never in the history of research really increased the way they show up to the classroom. Education is elevation. A lot of the universities that we hold up into high extent, I travel those universities, nappy headed, whatever shoes I want to wear, whatever shirt I want to wear. And listen, with the words that come out of my mouth, it has more value on whatever perception or judgment you want to make about the cover. You see what I'm saying? Y'all really want to judge the gift based off of the presentation and not about what the actuals in the gift. Man, I'm talking about, listen, man, anybody can come, anybody can get it. My email is info@theconsciously.com. Me and my team are waiting for anybody that want to take me up on this debate to defend the horrible anti-black policy about bonnets and durags. Obviously, black institutions can be anti-black too, huh? Education is elevation, man. Y'all keep on fighting for them vote next, man. As a matter of fact, if we stop wearing bonnets and we stop wearing durags, then we'll be respected. We stop wearing bonnets, stop being durags, then we'll get more funding, we'll get more housing, then, y'all picked the right one.